This is Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and the Seahawks are continuing to dominate the headlines of this offseason. Obviously, throughout the postseason, the Seahawks were the number one team. They dominated the 49ers. They went toe-to-toe and got the job done with the Rams. And then, of course, it was BTA against the Patriots for that Super Bowl victory. So everyone was talking about the Seahawks. Then it was, where's Clint Kubiak going to go? Once he left, okay, well, who's going to become the new OC in Seattle? And now we are transitioning after already knowing what the coaching staff is going to finally look like. We are also going to be able to start talking about some free agency news and talking about some free agency news around some big-time players with the Seattle Seahawks. What are we going to be talking about on today's show? Well, there was a coach that got a much-deserved promotion that I want to make sure we hit off the top because, well, Mike Macdonald, he just continues to build a very strong staff. Is Rashid Shaheed going to end up staying in Seattle? There's a pretty big statement that he made on a show earlier this week that I think makes it pretty clear what his plan is going to be. And then, of course, we got to talk about Riq Woolen because the corner that I want to say is a star, but probably just outside of the star range, he has been very wishy-washy on if he's going to stay in Seattle. I feel like we're finally starting to get a look on where he may potentially end up. Before we do that, though, I need to let you know how close we are to 85,000 subscribers. Only 147 more subs until we get to 85K. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you hit that sub button. If you have a friend that loves the Seattle Seahawks and is not subscribed to this channel, make sure that they do so. Next week, we are going to have multiple Chat Sports employees that are down at the NFL Combine. We're going to have all kinds of crazy content that you don't want to miss out on. So make sure that you hit that sub button so you keep up with everything on the Seattle Seahawks, but especially so you keep up with everything on the Seattle Seahawks around the NFL Combine, because eventually those players, they're going to be drafted. They're eventually going to be Seattle Seahawks. The coaching promotion that I want to talk about is for Justin Outten. The Seahawks did right by him because he was a fantastic coach. He was a fantastic personnel decision maker for the Seahawks this season, and he's a big reason why the Seahawks were able to go out and end up winning Super Bowl LX. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler put this out earlier today, and then, of course, I made a short on it as well that was out on my social media as well as our YouTube here. But the Seahawks have officially promoted Justin Outten to be their run game coordinator, and this was the right move because what the Seahawks did that not a lot of people saw or talked about was there was a change made at the running back coach position. Obviously, Coach Polamalu ended up stepping away from the Seattle Seahawks, and Justin Outten ended up stepping into that running back coaching role. And I think that's where you saw a lot of the success for the running backs of the Seattle Seahawks really flourish. When we look at the stat line for Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet this season, we're all going to kind of say, hey, that's a pretty good clip that both of those guys had. They ran the football very well, and it was very effective. But to sit here and say that both of those guys had eye-popping numbers, well, that would be wrong, and that would be a lie. But what I do think is important, especially for Kenneth Walker, but Zach Charbonnet as well, that rushing attack really exploded the last 3 games of the regular season and the entire postseason with Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker had over 500 yards in the last 6 games of the season. That's how well he was playing in this game, and that is, in my opinion, largely tied to Outten and Benton and the offensive line, of course, in Seattle. When I look at head coach Mike Macdonald, I can tell that he is building a championship-level staff. Because think about who you have now as a coach in Seattle. You have Justin Outten, a guy who was interviewing and was almost your offensive coordinator. You have a guy, Jake Peetz, who was a passing game specialist, a passing game coordinator for you, who was also interviewing to be OC and was someone that people thought would be a very good candidate for that. Thomas Hammock, who's now your running back coach. He was also interviewing for that OC position, almost had it. And then the guy who's your OC is Brian Fleury, and well, he went out and he won the job. Mike Macdonald is going to get the Seahawks back to the Super Bowl. I don't know if it will be next year, but with the staff that he's building, you just simply cannot not have success. This team is too good. This staff is too good. Is head coach Mike Macdonald building another championship-level coaching staff in Seattle? Let me know down below in the comment section, yes or no. Make sure that you sound off and you say it with your chest. I'll tell you right now, my answer, of course, is yes. The big question that I think a lot of people are asking at the wide receiver position is, will Rashid Shaheed end up staying in Seattle? Obviously, the Seahawks had to give up a lot of draft capital for the opportunity to go and get him. And so it's going to be very important for the Seahawks to make sure that they re-sign him and keep him with the Seattle Seahawks, not just because of what he can do in the special teams game, but more importantly, what he can do in this passing attack. And frankly, I think that Shaheed needs to stay in Seattle, and he's really close to being on the verge to being unlocked. Before we get into any of that, though, I need to let you know about my good friends over at Marsmen, because nobody tells you about this stuff. One day, you're absolutely crushing it, and then the next, you're wondering why everything just feels twice as hard. After V-Day, I kind of treated it like a reset. I wanted to feel energized again, not worn down. So I'm keeping it simple and doing something natural that supports my body where it needs it. That's why I'm taking Marsmen. It helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself again. Check out mengotomars.com to get 50% off for life plus free shipping and 3 free gifts. Stronger physical performance and recovery in the gym? What is not to love? Marsmen supports healthy T levels, energy, and stamina with 8 natural, clinically dosed ingredients, including vitamin D, zinc, and boron. The best part, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case, you don't absolutely love it and you get your money back, but over 91% of users report higher energy levels. Thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website to see for yourself. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them Seahawks Today sent you. Shout out to Mars, man. Your boy's over here trying to get a little yoked. We'll see if he gets there. Rashid Shaheed, back to the most important thing on today's video. He went on NFL Network and he was talking with the insiders about what his plans were for the 2026 NFL regular season, because there's a lot of teams that are very interested in the abilities of Rashid Shaheed. He's a great returner, obviously, but it does feel like there's a lot of meat left on the bone when it comes to his wide receiver skills, and I know a lot of teams think that they can take advantage of that, the Seahawks being one of them. Shaheed kind of shared where he's hoping to be next season. Absolutely, he said. Conversations are definitely going to be heating up towards March, but I would love to come back. I loved my experience here. He's talking about Seattle. I'm loving the Pacific Northwest, and obviously the organization is second to none. I kind of want to run it back. We just won the Super Bowl, so why not? The Seahawks have to bring him back. Obviously, Shaheed's trying to do the smart thing when it comes to the business side, and we all have to be aware of that in the National Football League. A player isn't going to outright say, well, there's only one place where I want to be, because, well, then his price goes down and his value goes down, and Shaheed's trying to get the most out of his next contract. But it is important to note that when you look at Shaheed, Seattle needs to bring him back. He fits into what this system is. He fits into what this scheme is. He fits into what this team wants to do. And he continues to get better year after year. The only reason he didn't get better in 2024 is because of an injury. So, if the Seahawks were able to bring back Shaheed, I think that they can build upon the stats that he has there as a wide receiver. It is important to note, though, when you look at the entire season for Shaheed, most of his success in the wide receiver position actually came in New Orleans. He was only able to get 188 yards receiving with the Seahawks, and he never ended up scoring a receiving touchdown. But I think it's important to note this because Rashid Shaheed didn't get a full offseason with quarterback Sam Darnold. He really just kind of came in and had to get plugged into the system and plugged into this team. I think that if Shaheed comes back, he has a full offseason where he's working with Darnold, he's understanding exactly what this offense is going to be. Darnold is understanding some of those unsaid things, those communication skills that Darnold clearly has with JSN, where he knows where he's going to be without having to talk to him. Seattle, if they're able to do that with Rashid Shaheed, you will see him be unlocked. How many deep balls were just over his hands or just underthrown this last season? I can think of at least 4 or 5 of them, one of them being in the Super Bowl. If Sam Darnold and Shaheed have an entire offseason where they can work together, I think you are going to see him explode as one of the big-time deep threats in the National Football League. That's also with the fact that more teams are going to focus on JSN. Torrey Horton's going to be back, so there's an extra deep threat. And, well, Cooper Kupp, that guy is just always finding ways to get open. Shaheed will get unlocked, and he needs to stay in Seattle. Seahawks have to go after him. Before we get into the Riq Woolen news here, I got to let you know about this sweet deal that we've got going on at chatsports.com right now, because St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. You don't want to be caught without a great t-shirt, because we have those here at chatsports.com/Seahawks Green, or Sea Green, excuse me. You can go and grab this sweet green t-shirt, or you can go grab the navy, only $29.99. It is a sweet deal. All you got to do is click the link in the comment section and description of today's video. It'll take you right where you need to go. Super affordable t-shirt, and you are going to be the talk of the town on St. Patty's Day when you're wearing the coolest drinking t-shirt out there. Riq Woolen, it does kind of feel like the time is over for him in Seattle. Unfortunately, the way that he has been talking has been kind of similar to, I would say, a player that wants to be non-committal. It sounds like a player who is going to go to the highest bidder. Obviously, I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with him before the Super Bowl. And we're going to play that clip here, and I want you to really listen to how he talks about Seattle and if he will stay or if he will go.
That's a good question, man. That's one thing that, that it's always in the back of my mind, but also, I've been where my feet at. I've been blessed to be with this team. I've been able to, contribute and have fun and enjoy this journey with them. And there's no better way to, be at the end of this journey or continue this journey after this game or during this game. So I'm just happy to be here, and it's a blessing.
So you notice there that Woolen, while he was very complimentary of Seattle and, of course, of the Seahawks organization, he did not really dive into why he wants to stay in Seattle or why he would want to go anywhere else. And that makes a ton of sense, right? You're getting ready for the Super Bowl. That's what you're more focused on. But what I do feel is interesting is that after the Super Bowl victory, you kind of expect Woolen to be a little bit more excited about staying in Seattle. A couple of the other guys who were free agents who had been kind of non-committal, which is smart by them. It's how they make the most money possible. Woolen hasn't really changed his tune, and if anything, he's been pretty dang cryptic on social media, where it makes it sound like he is not going to be in Seattle anymore. The big one that sticks out in my head is he posted a GIF where it's Will Smith in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, kind of looking here, looking there, and there's nothing. No one's around him, and there's no furniture. Dude, are you leaving? Because that's what that post feels like to me. And that's not even to mention some of the other stuff that's been posted by people who are representing him. When we look at Riq Woolen and his career so far in Seattle, I think that he's a pretty darn good cornerback. Yes, that rookie year made it seem like he was going to be the next Richard Sherman, and he's clearly taken a slight step down from that. It's also important to note that he's had a lot of success in this year. As the year went on, he got better and better. What will always be important to mention when it comes to Riq Woolen is that he is a man corner. And the Seahawks do not run a lot of man concepts. The Seattle Seahawks in Mike Macdonald's defense want to run a lot of zone defenses. And so it doesn't always necessarily fit what Riq wants to do. I still believe that Riq would be willing to come back to Seattle if the price tag was right. When we look at Spot Track right now, it looks like the projection for Riq Woolen is somewhere right around that $8.1 million, almost $8.2 million for an average annual salary. So if he were to sign a one-year deal, it would be a little bit over $8 million. If he were to sign a two-year deal, it would be right at about $16.5 million, and so on and so forth, right? I believe that because of the Super Bowl victory and how well that Riq Woolen has played in the past and how well he can potentially play, I think he's going to top that number. I think that there's a real shot that Riq Woolen is actually closer to $10 million a year per average annual value, because we have seen a lot of NFL teams see a player who had a little bit of success with some great potential that's still there get paid an absolute bag in free agency because the team doesn't want to miss out on that player. Riq Woolen has had a lot of success. He now has a Super Bowl victory to go along with his Pro Bowl award as well. I just see a team come in and be willing to pay a ton of money. So the question will be, do the Seahawks want to pay that amount of money? I'll be interested to see it. Let me know down below in the comment section where you believe Riq Woolen will be playing next season. Do you think he's going to be in Seattle? Do you think that he's going to end up playing somewhere else? Go in the comment section. Make sure you name that team and let us know where you think Riq Woolen will be putting on his uniform in the 2026 NFL season. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you do so now. We are within 200 subscribers of our Knicks Now channel. We want to catch them and become the 11th biggest channel here at Chat Sports. That's the JSN number. That number would be so freaking sweet. Make sure that you hit that sub button. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video, and I can't wait to see you next time.